Hundreds of people have been arrested in the Netherlands after more violent protests against the country's first nationwide curfew since the Second World War. Police used tear gas and water cannons to disperse crowds in cities including Amsterdam, Rotterdam and Haarlem. Adam Parsons has the latest.
There are two drivers to this. One is the genesis is a protest against lockdown restrictions and specifically against a curfew. Now, the Dutch curfew runs from 9 o'clock at night to 4:30 in the morning, but it is symbolically quite inflammatory. It's the first curfew the nation has had since the Second World War. So while France and Belgium, where I am at the moment, have both had curfews over recent months, and frankly, the imposition has passed with relatively little protest, in the Netherlands, this is seen as something of an affront to liberal democracy. I think there's also disenchantment with the government's management of the virus. But layered on top of this is undoubtedly an element of simple, unbridled vandalism. So last night, there were protests that turned violent in a number of places, Amsterdam, Rotterdam, The Hague, but also towns across the Netherlands, where you saw predominantly young people coming out on the streets and simply basically having a fight with authorities, throwing rocks around, breaking into stores, pushing over cars, setting things on fire. The sort of disturbance that we have seen previously that has got nothing to do with coronavirus. Now, the police responded with tear gas, with water cannon, had fireworks thrown at them. I've seen images of people on the street having rocks thrown at them by these people. So do we call them rioters or do we call them protesters? I think that's a difficult one to call. Probably a bit of both. It's a familiar theme from, let's say, French industrial protests, where you do get on the one hand people backing a cause and then the other the so-called black bloc of those who have simply turned up to cause mischief. Officials from the Prime Minister, Mark Rutte, down to locals have said that this is just about opportunistic vandalism. But certainly I think they will have to take on board this level of discontent about a curfew after what is the third night of significant protest.